Hello everyone, and welcome to The Single Parent, brought to you by Christ Our Shepherd Ministries. I'm Molly Hedrick, and I am thrilled to be part of this very special program. We're here to bring you a fresh perspective and real solutions to today's single parent. Today we're welcoming Sarah Lamb, who is with us to talk about diabetes in children and anything to do, of course, too, with a single parent. But Sarah has been single for about 8 years now and has a beautiful 14-year-old daughter, Mariah. I love that name. Gorgeous. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here and read something about Sarah's background, because I told her before this started, I probably wouldn't get this right, and I don't want to do her wrong here by getting it wrong. So, Sarah works full-time as a registered dietitian, nutritionist, certified diabetes educator for a large healthcare organization in North Carolina. She recently obtained a certificate for pediatric and adolescent weight management. Sarah has been involved in single parent ministries in Charlotte in the area for about 4 years now, correct? Mm-hmm. And something I just found out about Sarah before the program began is that you were a 2008 recipient of Women of Courage. Can you tell us a little bit more about that just for a minute? I would love to hear more about that and what it meant to you.
That was very, and I can't even think of the adjective that I would want to use. When I saw what one of our pastors had said about me, I felt very honored, and I was very humbled by that award. It was a very encouraging experience being a single parent to receive that, and it was cool, I guess, just being with other single parents, meeting the other women that had also been nominated by their churches.
Wow, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know that's something that stays with you forever, and it's awfully nice just to be recognized sometimes and have that reinforcement. Yes. Very nice. Well, we're here today to talk about diabetes in children. And of course, you're quite the expert in that area. And we might just want to begin to, in general terms, what does a parent need to know?
Well, I think first of all, what a parent needs to know about something with diabetes, if your child already has diabetes, as a single parent, you want to do the same thing as a two-parent family. Okay. You want to make sure your children are making their doctor's appointments. You want to be making sure that your children are being helped at school. What do you need to be doing and helping as a parent? When are they ready to do some of these things on their own? And making sure that they're taking medication where it's involved. And so those are some things that any parent would be doing for their child with diabetes.
Okay. And like you said, as a single parent, that doesn't change. You still need to provide.
Right.
In those areas. Right. What are the signals, per se, for diabetes? How would a parent know to even have their child checked for it?
Well, I think to explain that, if we talk about what's normal and when we're seeing kids, normal body function, well, let me back up a little bit and just say, explain a little bit about how our body uses energy, how we use food. We have an organ in our body. Everybody has one. It's called a pancreas. Okay, and God made that pancreas, and one of its functions is to produce insulin. Insulin is nothing but a hormone, and that hormone actually takes glucose, which is our body's form of sugar. That's our energy source. It takes that glucose and gets it into cells. And then our cells use that glucose for energy. Okay. And then we get glucose from the food that we eat, and also from a storehouse, and that storehouse is our liver.
Okay.
So we have a lot of organ functions going on here. Okay. Now in type 1 diabetes, we used to call that juvenile diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay. Type 1 diabetes is where your body attacks the cells in the pancreas for some reason. Your immune system does this and doesn't recognize it as being part of your own body. And so the pancreas quits producing insulin. Wow. When you quit producing insulin, you have to have a way to get the glucose that's in the blood into the cells. Okay, and then we see these really high blood sugars. Okay, and in order to get that that glucose where it needs to go, a child or an adult would have to take insulin injections.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then that gives us what we need to get the glucose to where it needs to go so that we can have energy.
I am so glad you just explained it that way in very simple terms. I've never really understood the roles of the organs as far as diabetes is concerned, and then the insulin. And I would think then when you bring your child for a checkup, they check the blood sugar level?
When you bring your child in for a checkup, if they draw blood, typically they will check glucose. Okay. And there's some things that they can look for. I just explained one type of diabetes, and now we're finding out that there's other types of type 1 diabetes. We don't even want to go there tonight.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But type 1 diabetes is actually considered an immune, let me make sure that I say this right. It's called autoimmune disease, okay? Because your body's own immune system has attacked an organ. All right.
So type 2 diabetes, you know, I've heard before type 1, type 2, and quite frankly, I've never known the difference. And I guess one is considered much more serious than the other, but
not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See?
Yeah, it's a different disease, really. Type 2 diabetes, we have that insulin resistance component. And there's often other things that come along with type 2 diabetes. One of those things is that the person may be overweight. Another thing that can be related to the weight is high blood pressure. Sleep apnea. So these are three, or at least two other things that can be connected with a person's weight. 85% of children that are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes are overweight. Meaning that they're at the 85th percentile or above in their weight, in their BMI, their weight for age. Okay. And I hope I said that right for our viewers. And this is very, very important because when I was a brand new dietitian 18 years ago, if I would have had a client or patient that said, this child has type 2 diabetes, that would have been heavily questioned by the medical community because type 2 diabetes didn't occur in children. Type 1 diabetes occurred in children. So this is something that's really become more prevalent in the last 15 years. And it all has to do with our children being heavier.
Oh my, so that actually, so it's actually the effect from the children being heavier has developed more of the type 2 diabetes in children.
Exactly.
Instead of the other way around, that they just discovered maybe type 2 has been there, just didn't know it.
Well, and it could have been that way. But the thing of it is that type 1 diabetes, we usually see individuals that experience this excessive weight loss. Whereas in type 2 diabetes, that doesn't always happen. And we have this insulin resistance component there. So they're treated differently. The symptoms are still the same.
That's what I was just